Hey, Dr. Kimberly, it says that we're live up there in the corner.
It does. Oh, wow.
Your
So
voice still sounds slightly not live.
it does. I know. I still have some more testing and appointments to see what we can do to try to get it back. But this right now is it's pretty good. I'm happy with this. We'll go with it,
Oh,
and hopefully it will last us the show. And it is with the most heavy heart that today this show is dedicated to Chris Smit, Christopher Ryan, as he was born. And I'm gonna try to do this without much emotion because when you are born without a disability, how you view life is so much different than when you have lived with your disability all of your life. And so there were many along the way that helped me to navigate acquiring a disability at 47 years old. That's pretty late. You know, I can see it in my 20s, my 30s, but here I am close to 50. I had just become an empty nester and trying to navigate life differently. And so the first stop was at Disability Advocates of Kent County. And since they seem to have been the hub for everything and everybody concerning this world, um, Chris was a part of that. And so there was often a lot of cross referrals that were made. And I came to Disability Advocates in 6 months after I had my stroke and was in the wheelchair. And so that happened in October of 2013. So now this is like my 10th year. And can't believe it, time flies. And I want to say thanks to Dee. She is all the way out of Detroit. Yes, Detroit, Michigan. Thank you so much for tuning in today. And I got to Disability Advocates, I want to say maybe about May of 2014 after completing all of the requirements for the VA because they sent me there. That in 2016, when Disability Advocates of Kent County had their investability dinner, they were doing something a little different and decided to do an impact speaker. And so, wow, I spoke for 7.5 minutes. Count them, friends and neighbors, 7.5 minutes. And it changed my entire world, those 7.5 minutes. Many of you will see different write ups.
folks, we're to blame. Just blame us for Dr. Kimberly. Just boom in such an awesome way. Because I'll just, yeah, folks. I mean, again, I could go on and on about that presentation. And I mean, people were on the edge of their seats had they wheeled in with one, or they're sitting in their provided chair at Meyer Gardens, and Dr. Kimberly was just preaching it and bringing it out there. And again, everybody was just there. And then her son Rudy at 7.5 minutes, and that's why Dr. Kimberly remembers it's 7.5 minutes, because that's how long we told her she had. And Rudy knew at 7.5 minutes, he stepped forward and put his hand on his mom's shoulder, and it brought the house down. Because again, everybody was just totally just wrapped into the presentation. And again, folks, you had to be there. Somewhere we should find, I know we have the recording. We got to find that recording. Yeah.
There is. It's a great one. Phil Tower introduces me, and and I come out there and zoop, zoop, zoop. It's like, wow, just changed my life. And the next year, because the staff at Disability Advocates, I mean, they're so innovative, they decided that the following year, it was going to be like a late night talk show. And Phil Towers was going to be the interviewer. And Tommy Allen and myself were going to be the guest.
And it was. Again, folks, it's yeah, it just was such a, again, fun and informative. And we even raised a few bucks. And
Oh, just a tad bit, yeah.
it's, yeah, Dr. Kimberly has been, again, helping us in so many ways since that time.
And it was I didn't know who this guy was that was at the table. So of course, I needed assistance, with my food prep. And so Tommy was assisting me. And I said, oh wow, look, there's us across the table. Because there was a young lady that was assisting this man with his food. So I said, so is this the assist table? Whatever. So Tommy and I are sitting there making all kinds of jokes, not knowing that I'm sitting at the table with greatness. That's why it's so important just to be kind. It takes nothing from you to be kind to the people that are around you. And so we strike up a conversation, and he looks at me and he says, girl, I don't know who you are. He said, girl, I don't know who you are, but you are fabulous. And I do this fashion show, and you have got to be in it. Okay. We have auditions. He goes, but this is your audition tonight, and you are in, baby. You are in. And I said, first of all, I don't even know this little man.
Ibertanji.
And wait a minute. Detroit is in the house today. We're gonna say hey to Vertaja. She is in Detroit as well. We thank you for our Detroit viewers. And he was like, Jill, get her information, because she's gonna be well. Chris, we have a process, and I think we need to follow the process. Chris said, I am the process. And I said, I need to get my confidence level up, because this man in this little chair just exuded just so much exuberance, life, a love for life. And I mean, he was quite dapper that night as well. And so he gave me his information. I gave him mine. And like a month or two later, I went down to Kendall School of Arts, and I came as myself, I guess, if you will, and did the whole interview. I think I met Andy Coombs and so many others. And I saw all of these beautiful people that had different types of disabilities that were there to audition to model. I was like, what? This was a whole new world, whole new world, whole new world. And I just was, okay, and I gotta get emotional, but it was to see so many people that are considered discounted show up in a space that was designed for a size 0, 5'9" white woman. And here we are, all shapes and sizes. Of course, I'm the only person of color, go figure. But just to see.
And it's, yeah, I mean, their series of fashion shows, because the group that Chris and Jill ran, called DisArt, that was the noise I was making. Was their second fashion show was I would say their biggest one, because that was the one that they were on the ramps on Rumsey Street as part of Sight Lab. But the first one was at Kendall the year before, and Andy Coombs, who Dr. Kimberly mentions, he was what's up, Taz? And Andy was a fantastic photographer. He was a student at Kendall, won all kinds of awards. He then, after doing some work here in town, he got accepted at Yale in their fine arts program, doing art and photography. And so anyways, he was kind of the producer of the fashion show. Andy used a wheelchair from a trampoline accident. And so anyways, I remember that very first one, because let's just say sometimes in my schedule, like every day, I put too much stuff in there. And my wife and I were going to be late, like the fashion show at Kendall, and it was just in the one big room up there on the second floor. And we were going to be like 5 minutes late. And I'm like, we'll just kind of sneak in the back, figuring that in this place that seats 200 folks, yeah, there'll be 40 people there, and we'll just kind of sneak in. Well, we get there, and it was an overflow crowd. We sat on the floor in the back. It was just awesome. So there were folks um, with disabilities. There were kids with disabilities. There was a fashion design class at Kendall that partnered with the pediatric rehab program at Mary Free Bed, and they designed, it's like some of the clothes that Dr. Kimberly has that's designed for her to more easily put it on and fashion. And so for parents and kids, because clothes, I mean, if you've ever tried to put a onesie on a squirming little baby, those, I'm getting flashbacks now when my kids were tiny. You're wrestling the kid trying to put it on. Imagine if that kid has a disability. So all those things being said, that first one was fantastic. The second one, fantastic. The third one at Meyer Gardens, which actually had even more disability related fashion, right?
Okay. So that probably would be, that particular one is probably the biggest to date for him. And I don't even think that they really have talked about it. I think it just kind of got glossed over and it went through, with everything else. But that project was more than a year long. And we did several interviews and we went on a journey together. There were maybe about 17 of us that we all had a different disability, and we had to tell our story through art, the arts of fashion. And so I found places in myself that I didn't even know, even prior to being disabled. And so just what he was able to bring out in each and every one of us and making us feel comfortable. His wife did a post shortly after he had died about him. And she said his word of choice was disability. Don't say differently abled or handicapped. He owned it. And I think that's what he did for me, was help me to really own being disabled and using that word, and that it didn't have to have a negative connotation to it. And he opened up a whole world. And I love the way he was able to do that. And so with this project, it started out with us doing these different interviews and, on camera. And then we would watch them almost like a documentary. And then we would watch them and critique each other and and encourage each other and to open up. Excuse me. And then we went from there to designing our own pieces. And I'm going to.
Oh, Dr. Kimberly, did you go grab a lounger? Because it's, I'm going to see if I can quick do a share screen here, folks, because you can hear some of the music there. Oh, I don't need to share screen yet. But
Okay.
Again, it was just so empowering for everybody who was participating, everybody who was there witnessing, again, all of these shows. And as Dr. Kimberly was saying, the third one had such a much deeper experience for the models, which, it was just awesome.
We and I love it because your son participated.
He did.
And were you gonna share your screen?
Well, I was going to show that I pulled up the video that I was able to find on the second one, but you go first. I was just had something.
Actually, I'm gonna nope, that's the wrong one. I'll let you share your screen while I go and grab something to drink.
All right. So
grab-
this is a couple minutes. This is the highlights from the 2016, and it was in partnership with Site Lab, internationally awarded art collaborative based here in Grand Rapids. So here we go. Let me get it. Share screen. Boom. We're sharing. Now you see the whole piece, and here we go. Let me hit play. It does. Let's hopefully you're seeing it, folks. And again, it was such an awesome experience. There's Chris, or not Chris, sorry, that was Andy Coombs. And we will pause that and stop screen share. And there's Dr. Kimberly back. So yeah, that was the 2016 one on the Site Lab spot, and it was just fantastic. Let me make sure Dr. Kimberly, how do I, here we go. We're going to just close that so I don't start music in the background. But it's because as you can tell, folks, I am extremely well-versed in technology, or maybe not.
Here. So this project that he did is the process and presence of disability in arts. It started in 2018 and went for a whole year. And I say that this was his biggest to date because not only did we have the documentary of all the persons who participated, but then we all took we had the opportunity to work with designers from around the country, Europe, Asia, Mexico, and to talk to them about what fashion looked like to us. And we had to do two pieces. The one piece was was with Liz Hilton, who had this machine. It was called Knitted, where you design on the computer what you want, and then it sends it to this big, huge machine that sits and knits it out. And then it just comes off. And so to see 17 people create a piece, and all the pieces had to be in Black, because Black showed the unity that even though, we were all disabled, we all had something that was different, but we were unified by our dis. And for us to stand across this big, huge, it was almost 200 feet stage that they had made at Frederick Meyer Garden for us to come all the way down and around. I felt like, I don't know if you ever saw The Wiz, but when it came out, they used this roller coaster to be the yellow brick road. And it was similar to that. So for this man to have such a grandiose mind to create something like this was just phenomenal. Just phenomenal. And so I love it. You know, the intersectionality, the interconnectedness, you know, your son ended up being the one to assist me. So those of us who needed, oh, okay. I think that's the part that I love, is that sometimes we need assistance with whatever our dis is. And because you have a dis doesn't mean that you can't be helpful. And so we were all paired with someone that, you know, for that day, whose dis was different than ours, but we could assist each other to take on life, the big runway of life.
And I'm only laughing because, my son Noah, and he had one of those, you know, the knitted black tops, and he helped Dr. Kimberly in that moment. But I've been off stage. I've been witness of Dr. Kimberly grabbing him by the ear, and the kid's doing good in Chicago now. I'm just saying, maybe he still feels that ear tug from Dr. Kimberly telling him. So again, people help people, and that's there were. I was listening to a podcast a few weeks ago, and it was just beautiful. We're this, our generic title is Center for Independent Living.
Mhm.
And we sometimes like to say, well, no one's really independent. We're interdependent.
Yes.
Well, this person, and I like interdependent, it's all good. This person even dogged interdependent and just said, we're all dependent. Why do we want to gloss it? Like somehow hide the fact that interdependent, it sounds we're dependent. That's the truth.
Right.
And I don't know how many people are watching this show that grew the food or caught whatever animal they're going to eat tonight for dinner. I bet you not many. We are dependent on the farmers of America and the world to feed us. Interdependent? No, we're dependent.
We are.
And so the beauty, and that's back to, you mentioned Lisa's post about Chris. He's got a disability. You don't have to gloss it. Differently abled, specially abled. I have a disability. I'm disabled, capital D. And so just say it. We are all dependent, but we think we're fancy Americans. We're independent. No, you're not. You got 10 people that work for you.
Right.
And that's I was talking with somebody who kind of knows this, like third hand, knows this fancy football player. And he said he's got 10 people to make him go, from dietitians to PR people to people. And it's like, this is one guy who's Mr. Macho, independent American, and he's dependent on 10 people a day to keep his brand rolling. So all that being said, folks, back to the beauty on that stage of dependence. It's just beauty of humanity.
It really is. So many things came out of this, and we had, I would be remiss if I did not mention Jean Na. And well, first, just Lisa opening up her home to all of us, every couple of weeks to sit around and have these discussions, and bringing in so many people to talk to us and get us prepared to be at our most vulnerable, if you will, because the requirement with both pieces, the avant-garde and the Black piece, you had to expose your dis. That there was just no way around it. You had to do it. We didn't have any fancy therapists. We didn't take any pills. I can't say that we didn't have some libations, but we all sat there with each other to depend on each other, to support each other, to expose that which we were trying to hide from first ourselves and then from society because it wouldn't be viewed as beautiful. And for him to just take us through that process of loving ourselves authentically, transparently, and without remiss, guilt, shame, condemnation was, ooh, yeah, yeah. And so we had to have splits. We had to have, exposure. And I was like, wait a minute, I don't know about all this. And he was like, sir. And then he starts making his little jokes about being in the chair. And I just said, okay, you got me. You know what? Okay, enough. Got this. And then he gets us ready because he introduces us to Jean Na, who was just this phenomenal photographer, who was just like another extension of him to prepare us and to see ourselves on camera, to embrace and embody everything. Yeah. Just, it was probably the best year of my life. And it was probably at the end of that year, going into 2019, when I found out that I was Miss Wheelchair USA, I said, it really prepared me for what that was going to take. When people look at a beauty queen, a beauty pageant, they never think of a woman in a wheelchair and being seated. And to feel confident in buying this Vera Wang dress, yeah, she went out. She went all the way out. It made me go buy me a Vera Wang. So I have this beautiful purple Vera Wang that I look at. I'm like, yes, I love you. She loves me back. And I would have never thought, because Vera Wang does not design her clothes for anybody like me. But after spending that time with Chris, I bought a Vera Wang. I bought a Vera Wang. And I still haven't had the courage to send it to her, to say, look, you need to design me something. And I think you need to reconsider this and, do bridal gowns. I think maybe this year might be that year.
She could be listening to this very episode. Vera, get a hold of Dr. Kimberly. Her contact information's below or above whatever streaming platform you're looking at. Vera, reach out to Dr. Kimberly. It's time for you, Vera, to broaden your horizons and be a little more inclusive. Just saying, Vera. Come on, Ms. Wang. Ms. Wang?
Ms. Wang.
Come on, let's go.
Woohoo. Well, you know what? We're going to take a pause right here because I believe that it can happen. I have not. What did she say? She sure doesn't. What is this? She says,
Dress is always too long.
Well, you know what I ended up doing? I ended up pinning up the dress. That is true. You got to make adjustments for being in a wheelchair. And so I did have to make some alterations, and they turned out really nice. Maybe I'll post them after the show. So I believe that it could happen because last Wednesday, I decided I was going to fly to New York to go see Jennifer Holliday. And I still haven't posted everything. I'm still just in the clouds. And it was at a supper club in Manhattan, 4-course meal. And as they came, it included a drink, but I needed a little extra Baileys for my throat and my coffee. In my coffee. Little Baileys, in my coffee. And when they came to bring the bill for the extra drinks, there was a note they just ripped off the cash register receipt and a blank piece and wrote on it and put it on top of the bill. So, they come with a beautiful little plaque thing, with this one, you open up the bill. And on top of it, it said, You are going upstairs to meet Jennifer. I almost fell out my wheelchair. Jesus. So when you guys see the pictures, I mean, I got to meet her for real. Like this eyelash right here, it touched her belly because I hugged her. This eyelash right here, it touched her eyelash and her weave. You know, we was like right here. And so if that can happen, I believe that Vera Wang will design a dress for me.
Amen, amen.
I believe it.
I'm just going to put it out there to our audience, Dr. Kimberly. Somebody in our audience knows somebody who knows Vera Wang. So please, let's make it happen. Folks, and you know Dr. Kimberly will not disappoint when she meets Ms. Wang.
We'll have her on the show, you know.
Well, that's true too.
So we're working on Jennifer. She has all of my information. Oh my God, and my QR code, you know, I'm just saying. And so this, I'm telling you, you know, this project with Chris opened me up to be able to have the confidence to do something like that. You know, the dress that I wore, I designed it, and it was a showstopper. Because Jennifer looked over. I mean, you know, there's this moment, and I took a picture of myself. I took a picture of her when she did it, and you know, she comes out on stage, and she just says, you know, thank you for coming, and I know that you guys love me, and because you came to see me, you guys are now my friends, and I love you. And so I said, I love you, Jennifer Holliday. And she turns and she looks at me and she says, oh, thank you. And I love you too. And I was like, oh my God. Fangirling. So to catch that picture where she's looking right at me, you know, I got to give a shout out to 54 and below at 247 West 54th Street, New York. Service, oh my gosh, fit for a queen. You would have thought I was Queen Elizabeth when I came in. And so they put me right at the stage, right in front of her. So, you know, I'm next to the big Steinway. Here's her microphone, and they put me right here in her purview. So, you know, when you tell somebody that you love them, you know, some kind of way they just have a tendency to turn to you and sing to you all night long, you know. So it was always like this. And there was a young man afterwards, him and his partner came up. The guy's name is Barry. Barry said, okay, first of all, let me tell you, you are so sharp by yourself. You are just beautiful, gorgeous. And I needed to tell you that. And he goes, and I had to tell you the energy that was in the room between you and Jennifer Holliday, he said, was bar none. And he said, because as soon as you said you loved her, I mean, it's like it opened up. And you were enjoying her. She was, you know, you enjoyed her energy. She enjoyed your energy. And he said it was just wonderful to watch. So his husband's like, hey, I need to come over here and see what you're talking about. What are you telling, you know, her? Oh, this is Dr. Kimberly. She's my friend now, you know. So it was great. But, you know, those are things that you can't put a dollar value on, and you don't necessarily always get an opportunity to explain or even say what they did for you and how it continues to show up in your life, because they took the time. And as we've talked about on the last 3 shows about that peer support, you know, this is what peer support looks like, when people just come alongside you. I got you. You know, you definitely, if you don't take anything else from this show today, the next time someone reaches out to you, answer the call, respond back to the text, respond back to the email, you know, take the time to listen, because in that moment, you can change a person's life. You know, you may have that word. And I always say, you know, God, make me the answer to someone's prayer. Because somewhere over here, somebody's praying, you know, wow, I sure wish I could have a green ice cream cone, and you just happen to be at the, ice cream shop, and you don't know why you're picking up this green ice cream, pistachio ice cream, and you go take it to Becky because Becky said, Lord, I really wish that I could have some pistachio ice cream. It would really make my day. And you just saved Becky that day because maybe she was feeling bad and didn't think that she was going to make it. What is this, Lacey? Thank you. So, that's what's so important about peer support. That's what I love about Disability Advocates of Kent County. One of many things is just how, you come alongside everybody to help them live their best directed life, whatever that looks like for them.
Yeah. And again, that's back then to our focus today on Chris, where he did that and he instigated that in others. Folks, Chris, I had the opportunity at our event in January when we had Sarah Hedren here, where we took a moment of silence and I got to talk about how Chris was not a fan of disability porn, meaning, somebody would show a picture of Chris and it's like, oh, he's so inspiring. And again, inspiration. If you do something with it, it's beautiful. But if you get inspired by Dr. Kimberly and her being out in the community and you do nothing, it's about instigating action. Get fired up, And so Chris helped instigate that action in Dr. Kimberly, and she keeps rippling it out, all out. So that's awesome.
I'm so honored that he went all out that year in 2018. And we have a book, and it's called Chrysalis. And I thought it was so interesting because we never knew what the title was going to be to the book, but my black piece that I designed, the whole overarching piece of it is a chrysalis. So you'll see the designs in the back, and down at the bottom represents the shell, the chrysalis. The top part of it are the wings of a butterfly. So it was designed with the butterfly in it to show my transformation. That even before I was in the wheelchair, I was actually more crippled than I ever have been in the wheelchair. And I said, and all God did was turn me inside out. And so I started saying that after that whole year of being with Chris, that there's nothing wrong with me. I'm not crippled. I realized you guys are the crippled ones, not me, because I'm in the wheelchair. And I realized how disabled and crippled I was by life when I was up walking around on 6-inch heels. And I said, wow. And I said, now there's a scripture in the Bible that says where Jacob wanted a blessing from the Lord. And they say that he wrestled all night long. God sent himself to him in the form of an angel. And they wrestled all night long. And he did not want to let go. He said, because I need this blessing. And so the angel touched him in the hollow of his hip so that he would let him go. And he said, this will always be a reminder that you've been with God and you are now blessed. And so from that day forward, Jacob walked with a limp. And that's what came to me at the end of this process, is that this has not been unto death. It has not been a detriment, but it shows that I've been with God, that I've been touched in the hollow of my hip, and I'm blessed. And I'm preaching right there. So if y'all want to send an offering, my Cash App is, Dr. Kimberly, that's a sermon all in of itself. And so I have lived that out since, 2018. And I look at all the things that I've done because I came to that realization. And it's like, wow. So we have this book, and when you open it up on the inside, that's what he chose. Give me some of that. He chose that to be the inside cover of the book. Now and then all of us, there's pictures of all of us in there in our own element. Some of them, it tells our story. Others, it's just a picture. But I'm telling you, we've always done that cliche that a picture is worth 1,000 words. But if you look at Chrysalis, it definitely tells a story. And I love it because Gene Nas signed it, and he was the photographer. He said, Kimberly, thank you so much for your kindness, wisdom, and spirit. I will carry our conversations from when we first met with me for the rest of my life. Big hug, Gene Nas. And the things that we shared in the moment. My favorite picture, the picture that they, let's see, I got a couple in here. Elliot's in here as well. But this picture right here that we took. Maybe you can see that.
Yep.
First, the regalness, in the purple. That outfit was custom made, for me. And I do have on a pair of Christian Louboutin shoes that probably cost, well, we're not going to talk about how much they cost. Let's just say that to get them used, they cost $2,000 for a used pair. But Chris gave me the confidence to say that my foot deserved to be in something that expensive, because my foot, that left one is kind of crazy. And so we had to kind of work to try.
That's a technical disability term, folks.
It is. And so, we've worked with Mary Freebed to try to fix it, and it wasn't quite fixing. And there's no way that I would put that expensive of a shoe on something that was dysfunctional. And Chris said, yes, you will. Yes, you will. Because we're going to show these designers that, first of all, we have the expendable income to do it. And we deserve to look good in whatever we want to buy that they make, regardless of the shape of our bodies. So I did it. And when he took that picture, I wanted to smile and I wanted to do all these things. And it was like, no, I need from you to show that you own this. We're a boss, we're not going to be glossed over anymore. So when I see that picture, I'm just like, whoa, you need to rise up. We're not chickens, we're eagles, and we're soaring. However that soar looks. And I'm just like, wow. Yeah. Yeah. Chris, I love you. And, there's so much of you and so many of us, just grateful. That's all I can say. It's just really, really grateful. And with that, I just put together a little bit of something. Let's see if we can.
Yeah, it's wow. The power of the process, and then just to see punctuated by Chris's pictures. Um, it's yeah, it's wacky to know that he's no longer physically with us. So, though his spirit remains strong.
Very much so. Very much so. I think that I think that Vera Wang should do get some of her designers together. I think we should do a fashion show in his honor. I really do.
Let's bring the folks together. What's happening to Kendall these days? Where's Andy Coombs these days? Is he still in Yale?
He's still hanging out, doing well, doing great photo shoots. You know, speaking of which, just excited a couple of weeks ago. Can't wait for the pictures to come out. We took some of our own. I think that we can share the ones that we did of our own. And Dave, I don't know if you know that. Well, tell them what we did a couple of weeks ago.
Well, I mean, we at Disability Advocates have awesome partnerships. And one of them is with Experience Grand Rapids, and they partner with Travel Michigan. You might know Travel Michigan on its on air brand, which is Pure Michigan. And, you know, the folks at Travel Michigan, Pure Michigan, they understand that Dr. Kimberly already mentioned people with disabilities have a lot of discretionary income. People with disabilities have families. People with disabilities are people who like to travel. So let's focus how our community is accessible. So they're doing a photo shoot, or they did a photo shoot. They spent a day in Detroit and a couple days in Grand Rapids. And so 2 Fridays ago, we had a hoot and a half, folks, um, with these photographers. I can't believe they brought photographers from Missouri. Good guys, nothing against these guys, but couldn't they find some Michigan photographers? But anyways, these guys are fantastic photographers, and
Starboard and Port is the name of
yes,
their business.
Starboard and Port. We were first at the Public Museum. Great pictures of us hanging out in the museum. So looking forward to those. And then we went to Rosa Parks Circle, and Dr. Kimberly was out on the ice with Patrick, having a blast. Some delightful pictures of Dr. Kimberly in front of the purple tree. Let's just say they knew she was coming, so they decorated a tree with purple lights. And so she might have had on a purple cape. I don't know how that happened. And so we just had a blast. And the photographers, they just didn't know what to do with us in so many positive ways. They were just like, you guys are just, I mean, they had 2 hours penned in the schedule at the art museum. And I think we were done in under an hour. They're like,
oh yeah, we were.
They're like, you guys are good. I mean, all we were was us having fun. Us, Michael, Patrick, Kim, and Dr. Kimberly and I. We were just having fun, looking at things. They said, "Okay, why don't you guys come over here?" And we did. And they're like, "This is beautiful." And we're like, "Okay, we're just being us." And then we were able to scoot down to Rosa Parks Circle, and so it was just again a delightful evening. Looking forward to the 1 or 2 pictures that might make it to the actual travel magazines when they do the article on how cool and cold we are in the wintertime here in Grand Rapids, Detroit, and other places in Michigan. So that was, again, another opportunity for Dr. Kimberly and others just to shine forth. And that's why we keep building partnerships. Never know when people take us up on that. Hey, you guys should be more inclusive. And then every once in a while, somebody says, hey, remember you said we should be more inclusive? We want to be. And we're like, all right, we got you covered. Because the worst thing that can happen is they call and ask for help, and we're like, but we don't do that. We say we're on it. Boom, Dr. Kimberly was there. Unfortunately, a couple of our friends were supposed to be there, and then they had personal, one was a plumbing issue, one was a car issue. But we still made do, and we still had fun.
And what I love is that as soon as they got on the plane, they were posting on Instagram, And Dave, you and I made the cut.
We did.
They posted a few pictures on Instagram. First, of course, they posted pictures of themselves. They said what a wonderful time that they had when they came to Michigan. And then they posted that picture of you and I on the ice together. So
I got to go to their IG.
I said, oh my God, Dave and I, we made the cut. You know, what they usually say that the director's cut. You know, some people end up on the floor somewhere, you know, others in the film. We made the cut, Dave and I, on the ice.
It was.
So we had a good time. We did some promo stuff for, you know, we're truly rolling on the road. You know, we're out here having a great time. So you'll see some of those, and we'll use some of those as intro or outro.
And shameless plug, folks, because we're all about shameless plugs here at Disability Advocates and Rolling on the Road. That was the first of 3 opportunities for test pilots to wander through Grand Rapids and to discover how accessible or opportunities for improvement, the World of Winter, the big festival. We were like top 10 in America for cool things to do as a winter festival. A national travel magazine had us listed. And so again, our friends at Downtown Grand Rapids Inc., we have a contract with them to do that exploration because they want to continue to get better. We're just going to point, again, great opportunities. The warming tent should be warm. Small suggestion. The warming tent wasn't warm. And second, just some of the, you know, when you put ice skates on, they have the mats so that way you don't walk on skates on concrete. The mats just need to be smoothed out. I mean, again, don't get me wrong. Most of it accessible, always opportunities to improve. And Downtown Grand Rapids is going to be listening to that. And so that was 2 Fridays ago. Last Saturday, another crew of us went downtown. We went across the river around the museum, not in the museum, down to Ford Museum and other places. Discovered, we're just going to say, other opportunities for growth. And then shameless plug is finally, Dave, get to your point. Okay. Anyways, shameless plug this Thursday. So if you're hearing this before Thursday, March 2, from 1 to 5, we're going to be downtown again. So we're going to be downtown, test pilots. We're going to be wandering the North Monroe area of World of Winter. And of course, I mean, World of Winter finishes this weekend, but it's information not only for next year's festival. Before you know it, outdoor festivals of the summer variety are going to start. Asian festival, Hispanic Fest, Polish Fest. Yes, the Polish Fest. You know, all kinds of opportunities that, again, Downtown Grand Rapids Inc. wants to be as inclusive as possible. And it's been awesome working with them. And so, shameless plug, give us a shout. See you there this Thursday, March 2. If you're watching a recording of this after March 2, you can still give us a call, and other opportunities for test pilots. Always happening.
Always. Well, guys, and that is our show on today. And we want to say thank you for the life of Christopher Ryan Smit, 1974 to January of 2023. He has definitely left a legacy in this city and beyond.
Absolutely.
And I pray that we all pick up the torch, take a piece of the mantle, and run with it in your way. And let's keep this moving. Let's keep telling people that we need to be a part and that we are the arts. And quiet as it's kept, I think that most artists have some disses anyway. You know, that's what makes them so artsy. Get things done. But we look forward to seeing you on next week. And we will see you on tomorrow when women step up at 4 o'clock, when our guest will be Miss Rachel Wade, who is a peer support for the VA in the state of Michigan. So we look forward to seeing you guys on tomorrow. And you guys have a great day and stay safe.